first time playing disc golf? Let's see. If I remember right, first course, Golden Gate Park in San Francisco. It's where I was working. It's not where I was living, as a matter of fact. I was from California, but I had moved with my wife and my kids to Minnesota, and after kind of the crash of '08 in the trades business, which is what I was in, I took up an opportunity with my family company to work in California, basically to pay the bills. Everything had kind of come apart in the trades, and I wasn't let go. I could have kept my job that paid the bills, but it was just a bad situation. And so I had an opportunity to go back to the family company and actually open up a different division. That's a whole other story, but but I was staying with my parents and working for the family company. And so I'm an electrician, and so I was working as an electrician in San Francisco, and I was trying to open up a different division. That was my purpose of being there. But besides all that, the whole point is, at the end of my day, my choices were to go back and hang out with my parents or find just about anything else to do. Living with your parents in your 40s after you've lived on your own since I was 17, it was a challenge. But anyway, so three different people. Three different people worked for that company. I knew two of them before I left the company the first time. It was TR and Vince, and then there was a third person that was working for that company, Rama. And so the three of them really they did a lot of things, but disc golf was definitely a chunk of their time. And so one day they were like, "Hey, you should come play disc golf with us." And I was a ball golfer. I mean, I had brought my clubs out there because I drove my own vehicle out to California. And so I was perfectly fine just playing golf, but it was cool to do something, with the people I was working with. You would just get off work and go play disc golf. So I remember the first time going to play Golden Gate Park. And Golden Gate Park, it's not a beginner-friendly course by any means. It has gotten a lot cleaned out since I started in 2010. I'm not going to say it was a more challenging course then, but it was, there was a lot of shrubs around. There was a lot of places that you could end up that made your round more difficult. I went out there, I'm trying to remember last time I was out there, probably almost 10 years ago now that I think about it, where I went back and I was playing with my buddies, and I couldn't believe how clean that park was. Just like cleaned out. There just wasn't a lot. It was fairly open. But anyway, my point is that I started at a complicated park. I would certainly not recommend that. Me being in the game for as long as I have now, I certainly wouldn't take somebody to go in the game and be like, "Hey, you want to learn how to play disc golf?" But what I do remember was, they taught me to throw forehands, which I think is probably still the best thing to teach people when they first start, just because you can look at the target. And I'm a lefty, so that's a good thing in, at that time, a very right-handed world of course design. So I was like, okay, I was a little bit of a sprinkler system off of the tee pad. I started to figure out how to throw somewhat far forehand. But what I remember more than anything was that it was very similar to my ball golf game, where I was not so great off the tee. Like, I could hit far, but my trajectory was never that great. I was always, my percentages were bad off the tee. But up shots, I was really good at them, and putting, I was really good. And I remember I started out as a straddle putter, because that just, for me, being tall, coming, kind of the Kevin Jones thing. Obviously, Kevin Jones not tall, but sorry, Kevin. But for me, that gave me a lot of swing to do that, big straddle putt. I could putt far, and I remember what my friends used to say all the time. Like when I first started, they were like, that's the hardest part of the game. You should not be able to be making putts like that. And I was a really good putter, just kind of out of the gate. It just seemed like, I remember I used to say, I'm like, I don't know, it doesn't seem that hard. The rest of the game seemed a lot harder to me. But yeah, that was my first experience, and I ended up working out there for I think about 2.5 years. Going back and forth in between Minnesota and California was definitely not the easiest time for my family, especially my wife. But it did, but I kind of needed to do it at the time. That's what it was. I needed something to fill that time, and I needed something to mean something to me besides just work, and that's probably what has grown into why I've stayed in this game. It still means something to me. There's so much in this game that means something to me. Definitely at this point in my life, I still play great. In my mind, I have all the same problems anybody does if they're not pros. We still all wish we could throw further. We still wish we could be more consistent. We still wish that when we had great putting rounds that we would always have great putting rounds. Currently, not so much. Ask my friends. But yeah, that was my first experience playing disc golf. And I don't know if I can remember too much. It's a long time ago. I can't remember too much about like where, like how I did as a player. I mean, I can definitely tell you for that 2.5 years that I was out there, I don't think I ever parred that course. Going back to Minnesota and then staying there, when I had a job again back in Minnesota, what I do remember was then when I started playing leagues, that's when I started shooting better. And then I remember going back and kind of thinking to myself, wow, why did I think this course was so hard? It's not easy. Don't get me wrong. If you go, it should be on your bucket list. Play Golden Gate Park for sure. Yeah, that was my first time. It was my first experience to disc golf. I have to give big credit to all three of my friends, TR, Rama, and Vince, who do still play the game. They give me a hard time for not coming out there more often to play. I'll just have to play where I am today. Thanks for listening.
Good shot. I guess that's a shot. I guess you, oddly enough, you have to be predominantly forehand lefty here.